Welcome to Macrocode. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. So today we are going to learn how to integrate Firebase in ASP.NET Core MVC. So in this video, we are going to create a simple ASP.NET Core MVC and connect it with a Firebase. So to begin with, let's just start with creating a simple project. So I'm going to create a simple ASP.NET Core MVC project. So I'll choose my MVC template here. So I'm going to use ASP.NET Core Web App MVC. So then next, then you can say this is Firebase ASP MVC. That is the name of our project. So you can also give it a name. Then next, then we are also going to use ASP.NET Core .NET 8.0. Then on the authentication type, let's just choose none. Then create. So you can create our project. So Firebase is a mobile application development platform created by Google, and it is actually used to build and grow mobile apps. So it is great for integrating authentication based on social networks, email, or even phone numbers into your project. So for now, I want us to create a simple app, and as you can see, this is our project. We have our controllers, we have the home controller, we also have the models folder, the views, and this is how it looks. So if we just launch this project, you'll notice that you don't have anything on it. It's just a simple template. So what I want us to do before actually doing anything is I want us to actually sign up and set up our Firebase account so that we are able to link this to our application. So let's just wait to see how our project looks like. So this is how our project look like. So let me just have it there. So you can see we just have our simple project, ASP.NET Core MVC, and you can actually give it a name. So go to layout. Then here we can rename it to, you can say this is how to integrate Firebase with ASP.NET Core MVC. So that is our project. We can relaunch it again and see. So there we go. So this is how it looks. So I want us now to link this and do some CRUD operation on Firebase. So to do that, I want us to use to actually go to Firebase. So I'm going to have this link. You can see https://firebase.google.com. So if you press enter, then it will take you to Firebase. So this is actually Firebase. And you can see Firebase is an app development platform that helps you to build and grow apps and games. Then we can actually, so this is what we are going to try today and connect this to our application. So if you go there, we need to have our Google account. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to go to console. I'll just go here. Let me just come here, then I can say get started. So if I click get started, it will take me to console, and you can see here I have some mobile, that is some projects that I had created. But today I want us to create a simple project. So here you will see we have a section for us to create a project. So click on add project. So when you click on add project, it will ask you to add a project name. So I want us to add a project name. So we are going to say Firebase ASP.NET MVC. So this is our project name. Then after that, you can say I confirm that I will use Firebase exclusively for purpose relating to my trade, business, and craft. So I tick that. Then I click OK. Then you'll see we have the Google Analytics for your Firebase project. We have all this, and we can enable a Google Analytics, or you can actually disable it. For us, you can just enable it. then continue. Then you can see select choose your Google account. So I'm going to use my default, then create account. So one thing that you need to be aware of, you need to be connected, that is logged into your Gmail. And you can see our project is actually creating. So for those who are new to this channel, consider subscribing, like our videos, and comment down below. So you can see our project has been created, and you can see your Firebase project is ready. Just click continue. And when you click continue, it will now take us to our project. So you can see we have our Firebase project here. And you can see we are being told get started by adding Firebase to our app. So this is now okay. We should be able to now proceed and add our Firebase to our app. But one thing that we need to do is we need to go to authentication. You can see here, click on authentication. So when you click to authentication, we need to now enable the sign-in method that will be used for authentication. So then just click get started. So if you click get started, so then I want us to choose the method of authentication. So one thing that I want us to choose is go to sign in here, and authentication, sign in a method. Then we choose email and password here. So you're going to choose email and password. So you can see we have a different authentication methods that you can actually use. So you're going to use email and password. Then you can see we need to enable. So enable email and password. There we go. Then after that, click on save. So you can see this is the sign-in methods that we've enabled. So we've enabled our sign-in methods. So I want us to go back to our project that we have just created. So as you can see on our project, this is how our project looks like. Then I want us to add some NuGet packages. So just right click on the project, then manage NuGet packages. So let's stop the project. So we're going to stop this. Then we can manage NuGet packages. Then I want us to install some packages. Here is, I want us to have Firebase. So Firebase authentication. So just use Firebase auth. So I want us to install this. So I want us to install Firebase auth. Then install that NuGet package. So we've actually installed one of the NuGet packages. So we have now our firebase.auth. So another thing that I want us to do is I want us to enable the use of our, that is to enable sessions. So go to program.cs file. Then I want us to add sessions in our project. So here I'll just do, so here we'll just add sessions. Then here I want us to do builder.services. Then dot add session. So if we do that, then you'll just do options. Then you can say options dot idle timeout. You can have it as 10 seconds, or let's just do 20. Then we can also have options dot idle, that is cookie. Let's just do cookie dot HTTP only. It's actually true. Can also do options. So you can do options dot cookie dot is essential. You can also say true. So after that, I also want us to, so let's close this. And you can also have here something called app.use session. So if we do that, the next thing that I want us to do is I want us to add so the next thing is I want us to add the to create a model. So I'm going to create a model. Remember our sign-in authentication method is a username, and that is email and password. So I'm going to use here, so I'll just say login model. So if we do that, I'll just do here public, then I'll say email address. So this is string. So if I do that, then I can do get set. Then I can also do here public string password. Then here we can have required, can say required. Then you can also do email address. Can also do here password is required. So after doing that, so we can actually, that's okay. So the next thing that I want us to do is I want us to create some error. I want us to manage some errors that we'll be getting them from our Firebase authentication or CRUD operations. So here I'm going to say, going to call this Firebase. So I'm going to call these errors. I can say error model. So this is our error model. So in our error model, I want us to have, so public int code. So you can just have this as code. Then get set. Can also have public. Can have this as a message. Can also have public. You can also have a list of errors. You can say error. So this is you can have this here. Then you can call these errors. So then we'll do get set. So that is our error. So this will enable us to handle the exception response from our Firebase sign-in method. So after that, I want us to do something. So I want us to generate the Firebase web API key. So I want us to go back to where we were. So this is where we were on our project. So we had already configured our authentication method. So the next thing that you need to go is when you go to our project here at the top under project overview, click on it, then go to project settings. Then on the project settings, go to the general tab. You can see here we have to we are on the general tab. So the next thing that you need to copy is actually we need to copy this web API key. So we need to copy our web API key. So copy that web API key. So I'm going to copy mine and place it somewhere. So ensure you have it somewhere. So after doing that, let's go back to our controller. Let's go back to our home controller. Then I want us to initiate here our Firebase. So I'll do Firebase authentication provider. So I'll do auth provider. Then I can just say provider. Then I can then you can do here new Firebase config. We'll do Firebase config. Then I can pass my key here. So I'm going to close it here. So pass your web API key that we just copied there. So I'm going to have mine here. So by setting the web API token we generated from our Firebase project, we have actually now authenticated our web application to access our Firebase API. So now the next thing that I want us to do is I want us to register some data. So on our home page, I want us to come here, then create can actually use the same view under index. So we can say, let's do create page. Let's create a create page. Can say create. So the create page, we are going to have we are going to have so this one we are going to have, so let's just do div. Let's just do div class. Then we can do row. Then here we can also do div class call. Sorry. So I'll just do div class equals to, can do call md 12. Then I can also do here, can have now my form. Let me just have my form here. I want us to register some users. So we can say, can close it here. Then our form, we can say ASP action. We'll give our action, and we can say our method is a post. So once you do that, can also come here now and do div class. So class, say call. You can actually do this as a row. Then I'm going to close it. Sorry, I'm going to close it that way. Then I can also do div class. Then you can have call md 6. And inside here, I can do div class. Can have our form group. So you can do form group. And here I can close it. Then I can do label sp4. So what I want us to do here is I want us to have our model. So the same thing that is here. Just see. So here I want us to have our at using. We can say using. Can say Firebase MVC dot models. Then we can say here dot login. So here we'll have our login model. Login model. We are saying at model. So let's just do at model. Then we have our, so we'll be having our model Firebase. Then this will be now. So here, this will be now our email. We'll say email address. Then we can do here class. Can have our control label. So this is label. Then we need to close this here. So then down here we can have our input. Say input sp4. And do email address. So you're going to can just copy this. Then here we can have class, then form, control. So after that, So here we can say email, can call this email address. So I want now to copy this as well and have it down here. Then here we can say this is our password, and this is our password. Can say this is our password. So once we have that, the next thing is we need to have a button. So I'm going to have our div class. Then you can say here form group. Then I'm going to close this. Then inside here we can have our button. So I'll just say button type. So type. So this will be submit. Then here we can say class btn. So we can have it here success. Then I can close this and I can say this is submit. So this will be my submit button. So once we have that, the next thing is we need to define where this submit will go and how we are going to register this data. So here I'll just say our action is register. So I'll say register user. So when we go to our controller, we'll need two actions. So one is we need our create. So I'll just do here create. So this is create. So I'll do here create. Then I can copy this and this will be my register. So I'll have my register here. And one thing is we're expecting our login model. So I'll just do login model. This is VM. Then once we do that, let's just begin now trying to save the data. So I'll do try. Then we can now create the user. So here I'll do await. So we can actually do this as async. Then task. I can have that. Then we can call this. So here I'll do await. So if you await, then you can say, so we have our Firebase authentication here. Then we can have this Firebase, or then we can say dot create. You can see create user with email and password. Then we can now pass our VM dot email. Then you can also pass our VM dot password. So once that is passed, then we need to log in now after we've created the user. So you can say variable Firebase link is equals to, can do await. Then we can have our Firebase authentication here. Then you can say sign in. So sign in with email and password. So after signing, we can have the VM dot. We supply now the email and password, and then VM dot, that is email and password. So let me minimize this so that you're able to see. So after doing that, we now need to get the token. So you can say string access token equals to, can do, so this is our link. So this will actually return for us the token. Then we can say Firebase token. So that is it. So we've now have our token. And the next thing that you need to check is we'll need to check if our token is not null. So I'll just do if access token. So if access token is not equal to null, so if our access token is not equal to null, then we need to have a session. So let's just have a session here. So I'll just do, can do HTTP context. http context dot session, then we can say dot set string. So we can set our session here. Then you can say our access token. Access, so this will be our access token. Access token. So then here we can supply our token. So this is, we should actually check here if the token is not null. So once we have that, then we have our session. Then after we've created, so we can do here catch. Then you can say exception. Then you can see how that goes. So once we have that, we can now redirect here to index. So you can say this redirect, return, redirect to action. Then we can have our index page here. So we'll be having our session. So here we can actually do Firebase authentication exception, and we can throw. So you can say Firebase variable Firebase authentication exception equals to, we can convert it to, so you can say JSON convert JSON. So you can say JSON, we just do JSON convert. Then I can say deserialize to object. Then you can have our error. Remember our error model? Then we can actually now do here our exception dot response data. So that is what we want to get. Then we can actually say here model state dot add errors. Then you can say string dot empty. Then we can do here, can now have our Firebase. Then you can say Firebase dot error, or you can have it here dot message. Let's just have dot message. Then we can close that, and we can return now the view. So I want us to return the view here with our VM. So after doing that, we can also do the same thing here with our VM. If this is null, so we can say else. If that is null, we can just do the same thing here. So after doing that, we can now try to create, we can now try to register this user and see if everything goes well. So let's just have our, under layout, let's add our link here. So come here, then say under home, you are going to create. Then you can say register user. Register user. So this is our register user. So if we try to click on our project, we should be able to now register a user. So I'm going to have our breakpoint just here so that we see what happens. I'm going to have it here. Then we are able to see that. So as you can see, we have our projects here as already launched. So if we click register user, we have our email and password. So we have our email and password. So I'm going to have a test, then supply our credentials. So I'm going to have and supply our credentials. Then if we click submit, there we go. You see we have our email and we have our password. So let's just see if we will be able to get that. So you can see our authentication provider, what has it returned? We try to log in to Firebase. You can see it has given us the token. You can see you have the Firebase token and you have the refresh token and you have the created time and the expires in. Then we have the user. So you see, this is the user that we have within our app that we have actually registered. So after doing that, we have our access token. You see, this is our access token, and we now have our session. So we make that as a session. So that is it. We have now